Okay, my makeup's done, my hair's done. Tonight's dance is gonna be the greatest night of my life. In just 30 minutes, Billy Ryan's gonna pick me up in his Trans Am and ask me to be his girlfriend, finally. And then we're gonna stay up all night dancing. Dancing. Wait, dancing? I don't know how to dance. Dry those tears, Missy. You're living in the 80s. Don't you know that this is the best decade ever to learn how to dance? But Billy's gonna be here in 27 minutes. I can't go get dance lessons that fast. Oh yes, you can. And all from this very room. I know that everyone learns dances from TikTok now, but in the 80s, dance shows ruled television. TikTok, is that a dance? Like this? Not even close. Hi, I'm Carmen Q Gollihar, and today on Retrotainment, we're putting on our boogie shoes and spinning back in time to explore some of the most unforgettable dance shows that got people moving in the 80s. So what's the first one? We'll kick it off with Dancing on Air. What started off as a local program in the Philadelphia area quickly exploded into a national phenomenon. The show was hosted by some unforgettable talent, including a guy named Dave Raymond, who would go on to be the original Philly Fanatic mascot. The show and its successor, Dance Party USA, aired in one form or another from 1981 to 1992. And it featured a live studio audience of teens dancing to the hottest music of the day. They could show off their raddest moves for a chance to win prizes and the chance to become regulars on the show. The most famous example? South Jersey girl Kelly Ripa. Viewers could even call in and request songs, making it a truly interactive experience that connected fans directly with the show. Hi, can you play I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany? The show featured tons of stars, everyone from Debbie Gibson to New Kids on the Block. Dancing on Air even has the ultimate 80s bragging rights for airing the first televised performance of Madonna, the Queen of Pop. And how could we forget Dance Fever? The show ran from 1979 to 1987 and was hosted by 80s hottie Adrian Zmed. From Grease 2, I love that movie. I bet the people in the future love it just as much as Grease 1, right? Yeah, totally. The show featured amateur teens putting up their best routines for celebrity judges like Eric Estrada, Linda Blair, and the tough Grace Jones. Each week, 4 couples went up for the chance to win $1,000. They were scored based on 4 categories: originality, showmanship, style, and technique. At the end of the season, the best were sent to the finals for the chance to take home $50,000. It featured everything from disco to breakdancing. Talk about a dance revolution. Disco? Haven't you heard? Disco's dead. Get with the times. Excuse me? Disco's alive in my heart, ma'am. Songs like Disco Duck may have killed it on the radio, but the moves inspired by the movement will never go away. Then there's Solid Gold, which aired from 1980 to 1988. At a time when dance shows featuring amateurs were saturating the market, Solid Gold stood apart with its very own roster of in-house pros. The coolest and the hottest. The Solid Gold dancers. They were amazing. The show really felt professional, which was probably in no small part thanks to the line of A-list hosts. Hosting duties were usually performed by a duo of a singer and a comedian. In fact, the show's premiere was hosted by legendary singer Dionne Warwick, and then passed the baton to other legends like Andy Gibb, Arsenio Hall, and MTV's Nina Blackwood. Each episode featured the top hits from the Billboard charts, sometimes performed live by the artists themselves, but more often than not, they lip-synced. Now, let's talk about Soul Train. Soul Train! Thank you. It began in 1971 and continued into the 80s, becoming a cultural phenomenon. It celebrated Black music and dance, featuring incredible performances and iconic dance lines. Not only that, it played a crucial role in promoting African American culture, often becoming a platform for civil rights discussions and representation. The show would open with the famous Soul Train scramble board. It had jumbled letters that contestants would sort out to spell the name of that show's performer. And of course, the famous Soul Train line. Contestants would form two lines that created a runway for performers to strut down with their very best moves. From Stevie Wonder to the Jackson 5 to Aretha Franklin, Soul Train was a launching pad for legends. Keep trying. Practice makes perfect. And it wasn't just the performers who got the fame. Some of the dancers went on to big careers. In fact, 90s legends Rosie Perez and MC Hammer were first noticed dancing on episodes of Soul Train. Wow, look at him go! I can't touch that. Now I like what you did there. And in the 80s, Soul Train gave national audiences their first ever taste of a new and upcoming musical trend called hip-hop, which came with its own signature style, breakdancing. You want me to try to spin on my head with this hair? I wouldn't advise it. The show later spawned the Soul Train Music Awards, celebrating achievements in Black music and honoring artists in the industry. And while we're talking about dance shows, we have to give a special shout out to two OGs of the genre, American Bandstand and the Lawrence Welk Show, which both made it into the 80s. They were pioneers in music and dance, showcasing young dancers and setting trends for years. Lawrence Welk peaked in the 1950s, but he was so beloved by American viewers that his show lasted in syndication until 1982. Welk famously used a bubble machine during performances to set the mood, which became a signature element of the show. Although known for its traditional pop ballroom and big band music, the show also eventually expanded to showcase various genres, including country, folk, and even rock and roll, especially during its later years. And then there was American Bandstand. The bandstand. Ew, my ears. I sound amazing. Anyway, American Bandstand was hosted by the world's oldest teenager, Dick Clark. Between this and New Year's Rockin' Eve, Dick Clark owned the popular music scene before MTV took the airwaves. Dick Clark was not only the host, but also played a significant role as a producer. He helped to shape the music industry and promoted new artists who would go on to have significant careers. The show reflected changing social norms. It featured diverse artists and styles, and even addressed issues like race relations during the civil rights movement. The show also allowed fans to rate a record, giving the power of a music critic to the average listeners way before the internet. So that's it, the best of the best. The shows that kept coming up with new ways to move your body and broadcast it to the masses. So how do you feel now? Ready to sweep Billy off his feet? Totally. Thank you, Carmen. He's not gonna have any idea what hit him. She's got this. I'm Carmen Q Gollihar, and this has been Retrotainment. See you soon.